Okay, Saturday morning in the Kingdom of the USA, long weekend. Yes, and today, guess what? The Weather Network is saying that. Oh, special air quality advisory. No shit. The mining company, yes, Gong Show Mining Company smoking us out. Yes, but they have tier 4, how would you say, equipment on site. Zero emissions coming from the equipment working. Yes, I just shake my head. All right, this morning we woke up to +5, but feels like +5. And then on the yo-yo scale, +41, but feels like 41. Yes, and we have the 41 Chevy over there. We'll scroll that way in a minute. All right, so today we have to work on the snow truck because we have to get brakes so we can drive it across the yard without hitting something. Yes, it rolls too good with no tracks. All right, let's scroll a bit this way. Look at the sunshine. We got helicopters, and last night the water bombers showing up. That was a good aerial display of flying. Yes, you go zoom this way, zoom that way. Very well choreographed. Ooh, that's a big word. I don't think I could spell that. All right, we should have a helicopter going by. Yes, they're doing inspections of the fire, analyzing which way they're going to, how'd you say, attack it today. All right, this way we're going to go a little bit more. All right. And no wood stove smoke. Yes, the shop is staying nice and warm overnight, and same as the buildings, and same as the dogs in the loader shed there. Keep the doors open during the day, let the heat in, and then when it cools down at night, they're okay. All right, so today we work on the snow truck right here. Oh, it's a finger pointing day. Yes. All right. There we go. One full rotation. We're right back to the tangled flags. I'm not untangling them because they are forecasting more wind. Unreal, this wind. It's like the ex-wife coming for a visit and staying. Oh, wait, that was the mother-in-law when I was married. All right, we better get to work. Here comes the boss.
Saturday morning in WHO-ville, it's almost 10 a.m. and as you can see, the sun is shining. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it's actually pretty warm out here right now, but of course the wind is picking up, so let's head inside, let the dogs out and make breakfast. Then at 1 p.m. I'll go up and do some shopping and head to the Kingdom.
Okay, over at the green toy, and it has air over hydraulic brakes, so it's kind of pointless. The brakes weren't that good when the truck was brand new, so we're not wasting money. Everybody with these green toys are upgrading to the air system, just like the modern Semi, so you have a good parking brake with the maxi brakes and stuff like that. So in 2019, when the truck arrived, it was well abused during Hollywood filming, so we never wasted any time with the brake pedal. So there it is. So we know when things go wrong. Oop, there, got rid of the glare. We know when things go wrong, you always slam your foot on the brake. And we're just using the park brake here. Oh my, it's not in the on position. Oh wait, we put a safety block behind it. Yeah, so that's how we drive around the yard. And some YouTube subscribers, Kingdom followers, noted that this truck has no air discharge when you do the braking. That's because we're using the handle here. Yes, and also too, when you get off the seat, you get this on the bottom, so that sometimes you knock it off. But we have the safety blocks behind it, because safety first at the end of the world, because it's a long airplane ride to the south with a good medication. Yes, the good drugs. All right, so that's why we're having to have a brake pedal working. So now we'll go to the 39 Chevy snow truck, and we'll have to figure out the brake pedal. Yes, we have to have one down there for sure. Okay, seems how we learned on the green toy, no matter what you do, okay, you always put your foot on the brake even if it's not connected. Just like driving an automatic car down the highway, and then you come up to the first stoplight, you naturally push the clutch in, but there is no clutch. So we figured out a while ago that we have to have a brake pedal here that's connected, because natural instincts, when everything's going wrong, you're going to push the brake pedal even if it's not there, okay? So the joys of this being the parts truck, yes, I got it in 1987 in Alexander, Manitoba, just north of town in the valley there. And it was the parts truck for all these years. And then in 2024, we decided to make it the snow truck. Yeah. So all the brake mechanisms down in here have been disconnected. There's the brake pedal. It's in its natural state of being limp. Yeah, whatever. Oh, there it is. All right. So we have to, how'd you say, do everything again. But that's no problem. We walk over to Trader 7. Numerous times over there to get the pieces, because we took everything apart for other trucks. So this is what we've come up with. Oh, gotta have the cough. All right. So as you can see, we have to put new fittings on. This one got cut off, but that's no problem. This stuff's all been removed. These master cylinders, we were buying them dime a dozen because we have so many trucks, and then we realized that this thing with the little 1-inch piston bore or whatever isn't quite good enough for highway speeds with the bigger trucks. So we went to the master cylinders of a new style with the vacuum booster or whatever, and bigger chambers. So we have front and back brakes individual. So we have to put these ends on, bolt this stuff back on, or make it fit again. So this will be the driver's side brake, and then over here is going to be the passenger side brake. So we're going to copy those guys from Fast and Furious. Yes, Fast and Furious. This is the lead. This will become a lever. Raise it up here. Pull the handle back. We have brakes for that side, the passenger side, so we can turn. All right, so over here, we got the new wheel cylinders on yesterday. So this is the brake routings we're going to do. We're bypassing all this old school stuff. We put on new, and we can weld it into place. We have the new hoses. We have to make a new bracketry over there, and then make some fittings to fit over there. This will work out good. I think it'll take quite a few beers today because thought's required, and we have to do it slow and patiently to make the hoses and make everything fit. Also too, we should mention in 2022, the money tree blossomed. So before it died, we bought inventory. Yes, inventory, because 3 of these trucks have the 2-speed rear ends. So we need all these couplers, fittings, and everything like that to make the 2-speed work, because we're upgrading from what Chevy did back in the day. Plus, these are all our parts we take off of. So we have, how do you say, repurpose, reuse. Even if it's new and shiny, we still have the old stuff to fall back on. Okay, in the shop, and here we go. So these are the fittings went on the master cylinders. We soaked them overnight. We repurpose, reuse. These are our collection of fittings, because you always go through and find the ones you want. And we have new ones here and the T's. Okay, so we know for a fact with the axle there, one side is going to have to be blocked off, so we have to make a block off plug. So we're going to have to pray to the gods of welding that we can actually do a weld with no air pockets or holes in it. And then also too, we purchased a lot of new, and especially these copper washers. Yes, you need those because they fit everywhere, so you have to have them in inventory. That's the joys of living at the end of the world. We can't stop by Napa on the after a Saturday breakfast at the, how would you say, IHOP? Or the Waffle House, I guess it's called. I'm not sure. And then stop at Napa and get the fittings we need for the day. We have to have inventory because it's 1,200 kilometers to the south to get the supplies up here, which take a week if there is no mail strike. Okay, lunchtime in the kingdom, and the winds died down a bit, which will probably get gusty at 2 p.m. as usual. All right, so we had to get the drill out because they riveted everything. Yes, they riveted everything back in the day, so we want to put bolts in the rivet holes, so it's best to drill them out. So under here, we got the lever on. Can we see that, Les Nesman? Lots of never sees and everything like that. All right, let's go to the shop and we can see the rest of the project.
12 p.m. and I'm just getting ready to make lunch. Sorry about the background noise. It is pretty windy out here again, so let's head inside. The dogs have been out most of the morning because the sun is nice and warm. I think I'm just going to have leftovers from last night. Almost 1 p.m. and I'm just finishing up lunch. This is the temperature we're sitting at right now. It's 20 degrees Celsius, which is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Even how the feels like on the bottom. As you can see from my weather board, it is still windy out here. So let's head inside, let the dogs back in, then go up and do some shopping and head over to the kingdom. Just after 1 p.m. and I finished shopping for the one bag and the case of pop. It was $100. The case of pop here is about $12 to $13 here in WHO-ville, but it's a treat for us. And I have some pop in the bottom here for our little adventure on Monday that we're going to take the drone out. Now let's head over to the kingdom and drop this off. Almost 1:30 and I made it to the kingdom and put the groceries away. Now I'll head down to the shop and see what my dad's up to. I'm pretty sure he's still working on the snow truck. Looks like my dad is just working on the snow truck today, so I grabbed my dog treats and I'll head back into WHO-ville and do the weather at 4:35 p.m.
Okay, in the shop, and the first thing we did was get those levers unseized. Yes, unseized. No, they were seized. Yeah, we got them unthawed, whatever, working. So there's the one for the passenger side, brake seal, and this is the passenger side master cylinder. So we took them apart, yes, and they're in pretty good shape because this is 2013 when we had the filming money from when we were on Ice Road Truckers. I bought new master cylinders and everything and bettered myself, and then we upgraded to a different style. Yes, so that worked out well because now we have inventory now to play with, which works out good. I could have spent the money foolishly on women and have nothing but memories. All right, so we got the big wrenches out, 1 5/8, and we're going to take and, how would you say, put this in here and smooth it out. Just give it a quick buff, call it good, and we have our spray bottle with safety brake. All right, we don't use methyl hydrate up here because we can't spell it, so we use the trucker safety brake. All right, let's go burn some lunch in the microwave. Okay, after lunch in the kingdom, and we got one master cylinder honed, and we're doing the other one here. Actually, I lucked out. We can just pour the safety brake in the top and give her self oils or self lubes. Just be very careful not to pull it out, or those little prongs going around hurt. Yes, they hurt. All right, let's continue the quest. Oh, I got the burps. I had Eggos for lunch. Yes, Eggos. Yes, in the microwave, flame broiled. Now I got the burps. I don't know why. Okay, we got one assembled, reassembled, and we call it refreshed. Yes, never sees everywhere, and we made sure we assembled it with brake fluid, so that way those cups or lubes or rubber things are sliding back and forth. Now we got to make a push rod for this one, but the main thing is we have the important piece. This thing right here shouldn't take long. We'll perform some magic. Okay, 2 o'clock in the kingdom, and we have two refreshed master cylinders. Yes, refreshed. Yes, not rebuilt, just refreshed and never seized up. We got the couplers on the ends. Now we got to magically make this one fit here. Yes, magically, because somebody cut it off, just like that one over there. But oh well, that was all part back in the day when there was no money. We, had to acquire it to get it done. Okay, 3 o'clock coffee in the kingdom, and we're doing very well. So we got two master cylinders refreshed. We got them bolted on. This one here's the passenger side. It'll be a lever action. Yes, lever action. So it'll have to be mounted like this. Okay, so we can change that. We're worried about that another day, but we got it refreshed, and we can run the, the steel brake line for that passenger side wheel. This will get bolted on to the truck after a beverage, and I made the brake rod from the brake pedal down, and everything is fully adjustable. We put the lock nuts on to keep everything tight, even if there's no chance of it backing off. Also too, there's our trusty measurements that we got off the other trucks. So that's the joys of having all the trucks in the kingdom. We can walk around and get measurements. If we only had one truck and was missing parts, how do we get measurements? Also too, today is brought to you by Minnie Mouse. Yes, Minnie Mouse. Yesterday I cut myself, and it's like a paper cut. Oops. And I didn't know I cut it until the brake clean. Oh yes, once you got a little cut, a paper cut, you spray the brake clean and get it onto your finger. Man, you feel it. You feel it now. All right, let's go have a victory drink, because we got 2 things done out of about 25. That's good enough for a victory drink. Okay, I have no idea what time it is, but it's after coffee sometime, and I got one project done. Yes, and the wind seems to have died down. Okay, so I can't put the camera underneath because we won't be able to see. I'll see what we can do here. Can we stick the camera down in here? All right, get down. There's the brake cylinder, master cylinder installed, and we look over here. There's the rods and everything like that. So that's how it's hooked up. All right, I'll bring it back out. We'll try for under here. Does that work? All right, so that's how you do it. 20 years from now, I'll thank myself for looking like the Tin Man, because it'll come apart. Okay, now I've set the workbench up to make steel lines and fittings. But first we got to do is make the block offs, because we need lefts and rights of these little T's. But in the past, we'd take a fitting like this, cut the end off, and then braze on the top here. But we don't have oxyacetylene or anything like that, so the days of brazing is long gone. We have the Hobart Handler 100 with flex core wire, gasless wire, so you have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. All right, so that's out of the question, so we toss it over here. This is all good stuff. Yes, it's not scrap. So we came up with this idea. We have lots of hoses that are old. So we were smart in cutting the ends off. All right. So we cut the ends off and saved that fitting, because that's the fitting we want. But the only problem is when you cut it off, there's that brass, and the brass, contaminates. But that's no problem when you have the trusty 3-in-1 gifted flapper discs right there. You can buff it till you get nothing down. All right. So now we did the weld. We put a small screw in the hole. We did the weld, and brought up the impurities. Yes, the impurities. It all floated up. So then you buff it off again with the flapper disc, the gifted flapper disc. Then you got, in theory, a clean weld. All right. So this will work out good for block offs, because the hose has the tapered fitting. I think they're called the 45-degree flare. The flare fitting. So you can see it in the fitting there. It has to be flared. But if you stick this in after you've welded a nut or bolt or something in the hole, there's no flare. So that's why they always leak, unless you did the crimp on here and the brazing on the top. So yeah, so we had to learn. So also too, if these leak, it's nothing to take them out, buff them, and look at how much meat or material we got here. We can keep buffing and buffing and buffing and welding until it stops leaking. If not, we'll just wrap it in duct tape and call it good. Oh wait, the orange silicone will solve the problem, just like it does everything else. All right, let's get some hoses made. Some steel lines made. We're gonna have to make the flares. Yes, we have the flaring tools here. Everything you ever wanted and never got for Christmas. And we're gonna make our own ends. Yes, and we'll screw up several times too.
4:30, and this is the temperature we're sitting at right now. It's 23 degrees Celsius, which is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. We even had the feels like on the bottom. As you can see from my weather board, it's still kind of windy out here, but not as bad as it was earlier, which is good for the firefighters and everyone fighting that fire north of WHO-ville. Now let's head inside and let the dogs out, get supper ready, and end my day.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock and we're ready to go outside and work on the truck. We have everything laid out. We have our block off plugs. This here will go to the wheel cylinder, and we took this rusted piece here, we buffed it up, and we put new copper washers on. So everything is laid out the way the steel lines have to be made. Steel line, and then from here, steel line to the master cylinder, and we whipped up these here, which is pretty neat. That's a 5/8 washer, hammered in there, booger welded it, and we have lefts and rights. So that's why it's laid out on the workbench like this. So we remember, and we're not screwing up. So if I went and made one, put it on the truck, came back, make another one, I would have made the same one over instead of lefts and rights. All right, let's go booger weld these on, and then we can begin the steel piping and flaring. So probably 50-50 chance we'll get those steel pipes right, but we only have to make 4 of them, so that's not bad. Okay, it's 5:30 and there's no wind, which is nice. Yes, and I was able to do some nice booger welds here. I wasn't covered in sparks, and we used the Hobart Handler 100, and we had to turn it up to 2 for victory. Yes, 2 for victory. All right, so we got some shadows. If I stand here, there's shadows. So I'll go over here. All right, there we go. So we welded it. We actually used the tape measure and got it, how would you say, in the same spot each time. So that'll work out good. We just have to run a steel line over the other side to the wheel cylinder, and a steel line up to that master cylinder, and same as over here. So this turned out rather well. And over here, I don't know if we can see it, but I went and put a strap on the breather tube right here. Oh, I'm hooked. I can't move. All right. Oh, I'm hooked. Oh my, at least I didn't spill my beer. All right, so we tie strapped it on, so when we get up to speed of 30 miles an hour, that little tube isn't popping out. All right, let's get some steel hoses made, or steel tubes, or steel pipes, or the brake lines done. I don't want to be out here till midnight. I'll be drunk when I'm trying to finish this. Okay, just about 6:30 and we can't stop. Yes, I don't know. We did the ends here. I made 8 boo-boos. 8 boo-boos. But then again, we bought a brand spanking new flaring kit, and it worked good. How would you say, 3 years ago or 2 years ago when we did a whole bunch of brake lines. And then this time around, it seized up. It wasn't free floating. So it was at an angle, like it's loose in here to start with because it's supposed to self-center. And as I'm going down, it's going crooked because this is not self-centering. So it took me a bit to figure it out and everything like that. But now it's loose, well lubed, spins freely, and we just did 4 nice ones here. Okay, we have a system. You put your tools all in the same spot, and that way you don't forget. So if you're doing a brake line, you grab 2 fittings here. Okay. Ooh, that was too fast even for me. All right. So you put your tube in, or your steel line, and then you measure it up with there. But if you see one of these, or too many of these here, that means you forgot it on here. But we also tape them on, so they only slide down here, because you can put them on and then start bending it, and then it won't come back. Okay, so that's why the tape never sees. I grew up doing this as a wee lad with hair on the top of my head, and we always used a little grease on the flaring piece here. Then I got smart, and we're finding out that anything brand spanking new in the new world we live in today, they're manufactured so fast that the threads are actually rough. Yeah, they're not smooth, and so you need some lube. So that's why they never seize. So you get it in here, but also too, you file your end, you buff your end with the emery cloth, you make your fitting on there, and then when you take it out, you buff it with the emery cloth, never sees it, and then it goes into the squeezer. All right, I was taught by my dad, who taught automotive mechanics, that you do your final squeeze over here. But the thing is, that's a round thing, and it's not what it's going into. So you do the final squeeze into this. Okay, that steel, that'll shape the end to what you want. See, that's a nice fitting. All right, so I think most of the people have trouble making this stuff because, one, the tools are crap you buy. Two, you're misinformed that, do your final squeeze. No, do your final squeeze in here. Like, that's a good, how would you say, reef. And here's the other ones here. So you get a nice flared fitting. We have the one for the small 3/16 line, and then we have one for the bigger lines. Okay, but we don't do much of those. So that way we know that the fitting is going to work. All right, let's go. We got only this much left, but I did order some more, so we might get one brake line on. But the main thing is we're getting it done. It was a struggle for a half an hour. I had to sit down and figure it out and focus because I couldn't give up. Yes, I couldn't give up and go in the house and drink beer and cry about it. No, we got to get this done. The boss will be happy. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. It's calm, it's quiet, which is nice. All right, but we can't quit. Yes, we can't quit. Oh, the shadows. So we got the brake lines in on this side. Can we see that, Les Netzman? But over here, there's no shadows, or we'll talk about it here. So I made the pieces. I installed it onto the brass block, tightened it up, and then I put the brass block into the wheel cylinder. It's a lot easier to fight with a big bolt than it is to try and bend and flex and everything, and this worked out rather well. Okay, so we're out of brand new steel or brake lines to go to the front, but that's no problem. We'll recycle, reuse, repurpose. This is the brake lines off that bread truck we wrecked last summer. Let's see if we can get it apart. But it would have been nice if some asshole had lubed it down first, but oh well, we'll make it work. Okay, 8:15, and we got some brake lines. Yes, we got some brake lines. So it was a struggle. Now, if I wasn't such an asshole and lubed this down, it would have had a year to sit. What was I thinking? Oh, wait, we weren't going to use this stuff. It was emergency use only. Well, I guess it is emergency. So we got this one here. The ends are seized on, but I'll have to cut them off, and that's no problem. So we had a little work table set up here, and look at this. We got this one fitting, and actually these brake lines are actually the right length. So look at that. We got it in, we got it tucked into the frame, and over here. This was tricky. We had just enough to curl it around. Can we see that, Les Netzman? And we got some brake fluid in there. Let's see if we can get some bubbles. Ooh, Lawrence Welk. Here we go. Just let it bubble away. All right. Let's run the other brake line over there, and then we can almost call it a day. It's been a long day, but I want to get this done because tomorrow's Sunday, and I get to wear clean clothes. Okay, just about 9:30, and I got the other used brake line shoved in there. Yes, but we can't hook it up because we're not done yet. Yes, we have to make a mounting bracket for the passenger side master cylinder. So look at that. Oh yes. All right, let's do the brake application. Ooh, nice and hard. Yes, and we bled the brakes here on the back. You just push down with a stick, and we come back here and bleed the air off. So we can go for a test drive. And to go for a test drive, I installed a windshield. Pretty good, eh? We had one piece of plexiglass in the trailer 8, and I cut it to fit. Look at that. And plus we have the new black duct tape. Yes, the black duct tape. Yes, we gotta have black. I don't like the gray stuff for some reason, but that looks good. Now I can do for a test drive. All right, let's put the door on and set the me phone up on the tripod. Oh, it's a long day, and I'm still kind of sober a bit, maybe. parked the 39 Chevy snow truck here so I can weld a granny step on so I can get in and out. Yes, I can get in and out. All right. I've had enough today. I'm going to put the camera away, pick up the tools real quick, and then walk the dogs and make a video. I am pooped, but I'm done. I'm done with the never sees. I'm done with the brake fluid. Oh, that's a bad combination, those two. But we did it. We set our mind to it. Even when we ran out of new brake lines, we got it done. All right, let's go walk the dogs, drink some beer, make a video, and we'll talk to you guys later.